The following is a program of the Santa Barbara County Education Office. To learn more, visit sbceo.org.
I'm Susan Salcido, Santa Barbara County Superintendent of Schools. I'm so delighted to welcome our guest today, Maria Larios-Horton. Maria serves as the Director of Multilingual and Migrant Education Programs at the Santa Maria Joint Union High School District. Thank you so much for joining us today, Maria.
Thank you, Susan, for inviting me.
Yes, I can't wait to share about you and all of your successes, what you've done up to now and what you're doing currently and in the future. But before we launch into that, let's start at the beginning. Let's talk about where you were born, where you were raised, your childhood, where you grew up. Tell us about some of that background.
Sure. Well, I was born in Guadalajara, Jalisco, Mexico, and came to the United States as a toddler. I had the great fortune of growing up on a rural ranch in San Ynez called Rancho Sierra Grande, and I have extremely fond memories of growing up on a ranch with my brother Carlos and my sister Laura. My father was a ranch hand and my mother was a housekeeper. So my childhood is peppered with memories of horses and livestock and Windex and Pledge because I was my mother's helper. And so I feel pretty fortunate to have grown up in the San Ynez Valley.
Yeah, what a rich background and experience that has colored you for your whole life, I'm sure. And so tell us where you went to school as a child and even after high school.
Sure. So I had the great privilege of going to Valley schools. So I went to college school, a little bit of time at Haneda Elementary. I went and I was a graduate of San Ynez High School and proud pirate. From there, I was able to go to a private college. And unfortunately, that didn't work out for me too well in my first year. So I transferred to Santa Barbara City College and went on from there to Cal State University, Northridge.
Great path. And tell us what you studied and how you chose your major.
That's a real interesting story. I was really thankful for my counselor at City College because she knew how determined I was to be an educator. And so she directed me to a program at Cal State University, Northridge that would allow me to both study adolescent and child development, but also be able to minor in education, which is pretty rare. And I have to say I was so thankful for that because I had amazing educators and counselors at Cal State University, Northridge.
That's great. So you majored in, well, you had multiple
so adolescent and childhood development and a minor in education.
So how did you and when did you know you wanted to study education or be a teacher? Tell us about that time you knew.
Well, I knew I wanted to be a teacher in first grade. And I have told this story many times. I've probably told it to you before, and most recently told it at our recent reclassification celebration. But I would have to say that my first grade teacher, who helped me through first grade as a student that didn't really speak a whole lot of English, she was very comforting and very compassionate. Through a very difficult time in my life. In first grade, my father was deported, and she was very aware of the situation and did everything that she could to make sure that I felt welcome and okay in class. And so I have so much to thank her for. And so I can say that I could probably pinpoint the moment that a 6-year-old said, "This is what I want to do for other kids too."
That's really a wonderful story. Thank you so much for sharing that. And so tell us about your first job as a teacher. Was it right out of college?
It was right out of college. I was so excited to hear from Lompoc Unified that they were seeking bilingual educators. And I happened to be able to apply and interview for a teaching job a week after my college graduation. And it was just like that. I started as a third grade teacher at Hapgood Elementary School, and just feel incredibly happy and fortunate to have been given that opportunity right out of college.
That's great. Well, you were an exceptional teacher. We know that because your reputation preceded you, and you were asked to be a director of English learner programs and services at the County Education Office. You were there for a few years, and then now at the Santa Maria Joint Union High School District, serving as a director for multilingual programs, migrant education programs. How have each of the positions that you've had informed the next?
As an educator early on in my career, I realized that I wanted to do more for our students than teaching 20 students. I knew early on that I wanted to be able to influence the education of many students, and that would require work with districts and different systems. And so Lompoc Unified gave me an incredible opportunity to be a specialist first before coming to County Education Office. And as a specialist in Lompoc, I learned about the value and the importance of supporting teachers through professional learning and ongoing job-embedded support. And that then helped me to do the work I did at County Education Office, which was to support 20 districts with their English learner programs. And the opportunity I got at County Education Office really broadened my experience, and was able to then take that experience and apply it in my current role. So I've just been incredibly thankful to each and every position I've had, and I've really taken each position as a stepping stone and a growth opportunity, and I actually carry that into my current role as well, making sure to provide those opportunities for others.
That's great. Thanks, Maria, for the stepping stones and the ladder. We can really see that path that you took. I can see the influence that you had, I'm sure, on the 20 students each year. You certainly had it at the County Education Office through all 20 districts. You had such an impact, and you, I know, have it in your current role, too. So let's talk about your current role. Tell us about what you do on a day-to-day, but also your vision for the program now.
Well, on the day-to-day, you will see our program supporting students, parents, educators, administrators, balancing budgets, funding sources. So in my current role, I have the great fortune of leading a 26-member staff that support all aspects of the system. And so my vision for the program is really to continue to provide the most critical supports to our schools and administrators so that they can do the work they need to do to create amazing opportunities for our students. That's
great. You impact and you inspire both the staff and the students and the families in your program. Let's talk about your staff. What are some of the ways your staff helps serve the needs of these very important people in our community? What does your staff do?
Well, first and foremost, the staff that I get to lead first come to work with a very large heart and a lot of commitment. And so to begin with, our certificated staff, our teachers on special assignment, do an incredible job of supporting teachers through professional learning, through coordinating programs and services for our students. Just recently we counted approximately 18 field trips alone that our teachers on assignment were able to coordinate for teachers and students. So our teachers on assignment are pivotal. We have 11 bilingual instructional assistants who serve as a bridge to our teachers, our students, and their families. Our bilingual instructional assistants do the critical work of, again, being that bridge for non-English speaking students, our immigrant students, and they are doing a phenomenal job. We have a migrant team that is very committed to our students, and they're at the ready whenever our students need academic counseling, graduation support, or referrals out to other services. We have an incredible language assessment team that is on top of assessment for our English learner students. Assessment is a critical piece of providing services to our students. So, and then we're just kind of, glued together by our administrative assistant, who's pretty incredible. Mm-hmm. And then finally, our interpreters. Our interpreter team of 10, 3 full-time, 7 part-time, do the work of ensuring that every school has language access for meetings with families and events with families. So that is definitely something we're incredibly proud to do in our department.
Sounds like a truly incredible team doing very, very important work together with a big heart, which is really important as well. And so we talked about your staff. Let's talk specifically about the students who are served in your program. Is there a particular vision or goal that you have for the students who are served by your programs?
We have in our high school district 3 comprehensive high schools, an alternative school that enroll about 8,000 students. Of those 8,000 students, 25% are English learner students. So about 2,000 students, that's a lot of students. Mm-hmm. We also support migrant students, of which we have about 425. And then we also support our most vulnerable immigrant students who have been with us less than 3 years.
Wondered if you had a particular goal in mind in terms of serving, or is it not necessarily goal-oriented, but rather support services, working towards the same goal that maybe the district is working on as well?
Really, the goal for all of our students is to make sure they are college and career ready, mm-hmm. and some of our students have a harder path, more difficult path to becoming college and career. So our department really works to kind of push away the boulders and maybe carve out smaller mountains for those students. Mm-hmm. So that is really the goal. The goal is to serve our students holistically. So if our students have primary needs, we have services to help them with those primary needs. We have supports and services that will ensure that students have the appropriate tutoring to make sure they make it through their courses. And ultimately, we have folks that are very committed to working with the counseling teams to ensure our students get to that place. So the goal really is to, as our mission statement says, our goal is really to get our students college and career ready, and to do it in such a way that honors their background and their identity.
That's wonderful. I love hearing about the work that your whole team is doing, and Maria, the fact that you're directing it is clearly an incredible support and service for our important community members, truly. Something that you started was an annual awards dinner. It's something new. It's been happening for a couple of years now, I believe. Can you tell us about that awards event and what it means for the students and families?
Sure. Well, this is the 3rd year, this past year, that we celebrated the reclassification of our English learner students. And reclassification technically means that a student has met all criteria for meeting English proficiency. And often in many districts, that happens kind of without a whole lot of celebration. Sometimes it's just a letter in the mail, and I thought it would be great to change that for our students, given that multilingualism is such a critical skill to have in this new and changing global economy. Mm-hmm. So we thought we would celebrate it, and in our 3rd year, we have some themes that help us implement the celebration, and that includes that all of our celebrations are done entirely in Spanish. Our families have said how excited they are to come to a celebration of that nature and actually understand mm-hmm. everything that is happening without having to wear headsets. We've committed to bringing in some top-notch speakers for our students and families, and most recently we were able to have Jose Hernandez, the first Mexican-American astronaut, speak to our students and parents in Spanish, and our parents were extremely thankful for the messages he had to share. For our students, what that means is that they've received a certificate that acknowledges their first languages, but also congratulates them for having attained proficiency in a second, and often for some of our Mixteco-speaking students, a third language. So it's really a celebration of languages, and it's been pretty phenomenal so far.
Sounds like a great celebration for sure. And Maria, you serve as a role model for so many. You inspire so many. You personally are multilingual, multicultural, and you share that as an asset and an example of an asset for so many. Talk to us about that asset of being multilingual, multicultural for yourself and for the students.
Well, as I mentioned earlier, being multilingual, having the ability to speak other languages besides your first language, there are many research studies that show the benefits of multilingualism, both cognitively and socially. The fact that you can connect with others because you speak their language is something that you can't necessarily just go and practice very quickly. So we as a state honor the fact that our students are multilingual by offering a state seal of biliteracy, and that is something that I think California has led in the nation. But I honestly believe that when we honor students' first languages, we're honoring their identities, and often our students may come to school not feeling like their whole self is being honored. And so for us, honoring the fact that they speak several languages really helps to support a positive sense of identity. And so our department works really hard to make sure our students feel that and know that.
That's really wonderful, that identity component for sure. And another big component I think that you emphasize is really partnering with parents, ensuring that they're really part of the system that in terms of supporting their students to be college and career ready. So tell us a little bit about those activities where you partner with parents with your programs.
Sure. In our department, we are a 7:30 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. operation because we make sure that when we work with parents, we are working with them on at a time that they are able to come and be participate in our programs. So the different things that we are able to offer parents include leadership institutes for parents so they understand the different ways in which they can participate and influence education for their students. We also offer workshops where students can come and their parents learn together to understand the educational system and help to navigate the educational system. And for the first time this past year, we offered not just a Spanish institute to help our parents understand the educational system, but we also offered one in Mixteco entirely. So that was a huge success. We also ensure that all of the advisory committees that we are required to implement are done so in ways that honor parents' schedules, honor their languages and the ways of learning and being. And so our committee meetings don't look like your typical committee meeting. We have lots and lots of engagement on the part of parents, and we really do believe that they're the ones that hold the knowledge that will help us as administrators better support their students.
That's great. Thank you for that description. It's really, really rich. I think that you could answer this question in 100 different ways, but if you could, share with us some of the best parts of your job.
Wow. Everything is the best part of my job. Honestly, I think the best part of my job is my job. So I can say that I can start the morning working with an incredible superintendent and incredible leadership at the district office. And then from there, moved to Lincoln Center, where my office is, and I get to work with my assistant to help organize the week. And then from there, I spend some time with teachers on assignment, trying to figure out how to best support our teachers. And from there, I go to the migrant team to see about how we can better support our students. And then I meet with interpreters, and I end my evening. It's a long day, but I end my evenings, most often with parents and in between their students. So I feel very fortunate to have the ability to work with such a large and diverse group of people in my job. That's got to be the best part.
It sounds like there are many, many best parts, but that's fantastic. Maria, you and I were able to attend one of the graduations here in Santa Maria High School, but you attended all of them this year. Yes. And I'm sure that was very special to see all the thousands of graduates, but particularly some of the students served in your program. Yes. Tell us about how that felt.
It felt pretty incredible. Often our team works really, really, really hard all year long, and we don't take enough time to really look at the fruits of our labor and to experience that. And so graduation is pretty important. But to see students like Mariana de Leon and some of our other students, immigrant students who have really made it because of the supports that our department has provided, has been incredibly just fruitful, and it just makes for more energy for the following year. So it was pretty incredible.
You talked earlier about celebrating at that annual awards event, and this is another kind of celebration to see them students walk across the stage, isn't it? It's really, really exciting. Yes. Well, just a moment ago you talked about the very best. The best is your job, and all these wonderful things. But could you say that there are some challenges, and if there are, what are some of the challenges in either the work or in education today?
Yeah, I just can't name a profession where we don't have challenges, and I think that we choose to lead because we understand that there will be challenges. So I think the challenges that I face, or that we face in education, and particularly with serving multilingual migrant education students, is that there's quite a lot of change in terms of how we serve the students. And so I think anytime that you implement something new or a new idea, you've got to be able to understand those effects on others, and understand how you can possibly make that challenge not necessarily go away, but to work with the challenge. And of course, those exist in my job frequently as we're trying to implement new programs and new services. But I feel pretty successful in that when we work as teams, that we can get things done, and when we work on communication, that really does help things move along.
Communication is a really big factor. Well, let's turn then to leadership for a moment, and in terms of mentorship in leadership. I know how much you value mentors in your whole life. You really have sought them, and they've really provided good leadership for you. Can you tell us about some of your mentors and what you might have learned through these years from them?
Absolutely. I can name them, so that should say something, right?
That's right.
I can name my mentors from high school. If it weren't for Señor Gonzalez, my Spanish teacher in high school, I don't think I'd be here. My master teacher, Julie Kozel, when I was a brand new teacher, oh my goodness, I would not have been able to make it through without her. Carl Krugmeyer was my administrative mentor as I was getting my administrative credential. And of course, at the county education office, it would have to be you, Susan, and Bill Cerrone. I mean, and currently, the people I work with. So mentorship is incredibly important, and I often feel like it's important that everybody understands that that's part of your job, is to also continue to mentor others.
Right, which you definitely have. Not only have mentors impacted you, but you definitely impact others, and I know you mentor them and your staff, and even those who you don't even know, you're really impacting. So let's talk a little bit about leadership. What are some of the important leadership skills that you've learned, you really honed and learned, or still developing now?
Well, I've learned so much from each and every one of my mentors, and we alluded a little bit to the communication piece. I think communication is definitely something that I'm always trying to refine, and especially when you work with such different groups of educators and support staff, there are different ways to communicate, so I'm still working on that. I've learned so much about communication from you and Bill. I would have to say that I think about those skills on a daily, and that's how much I think it is important to keep and continue to hone communication. It's my strength, but it's also an area of growth.
Well, that's great. So, Maria, a moment ago you talked about the 7:30 to 9:30 day. Tell us a little bit about balance.
Oh.
Yes. Have you heard of the term balance?
No.
Yeah. Well, when you get
It's
balance,
not true.
how do you find that you can be balanced in your day?
Well, because I have an incredible support system, to be able to do the 7:30 to 9:30, including my husband Greg and my children Isabel and Martin, I spend time with them. They're the best, and my parents and friends too that are not in education, because it's so great to talk to them about what life is like outside of education. So I just like spending time with friends and family, and enjoying a good meal. That's probably what I like to do on my downtime.
It's important, so important to recharge, Maria. As we've heard in this interview, you give so much. You are such a thoughtful leader. We are so truly honored and fortunate to have your leadership in this county and in this school district of Santa Maria Joint Union High School District. You're truly impressive and impactful, and we just want to say thank you for all that you do, Maria.
Thank you, Susan.
I'm Susan Salcido, Santa Barbara County Superintendent of Schools. Thank you so much for joining us for this edition of Schools of Thought.